What's going on, guys? Welcome to the first Football Nation fan phone in. Now, if you want to get involved in this fan phone in, we're going to put the link in the chat for you. So make sure you do, get involved. It'd be great. We want to talk to you about whatever you want to talk about. Now, it doesn't matter who you support. It doesn't matter how the result went. All that matters is that you want to talk about football, and that's what we're here for. So I've just posted the link in the chat. Please feel free, come and have a chat with us and let us know. We are watching the end of the Liverpool game at the moment, so there's around about 4 minutes plus added time to go. And honestly, this game is just everything that is wrong with Liverpool Football Club. It is truly, truly abysmal. I've just posted that in there as well on my own personal chat. So let's have a look at Liverpool. What has gone wrong? I mean, this is gotta be the biggest drop-off of any team that has ever happened. They've gone from being title challengers, champions elect, to being, mid-table, getting battered by Real Madrid. They really are a team that has not. It's not that they've not transitioned; it's that they've completely just gone. Do you know what? We don't know how to play football anymore, and it's quite embarrassing. It's a team that rely on the wrong players, and I think losing Mane has definitely shown it. But they are just playing out from the back here. It's with Robertson on the left. He plays a long, aimless ball is the best way for me to describe it, and it's cleared up by the Palace defense. Biacic, I think I pronounced that right, is off the bench. So their midfield is currently made up of Harvey Elliott, Biacic, and Jordan Henderson. There's so many questions that we'll be looking at tonight. In terms of what went wrong at Liverpool. So hopefully we might get a goal in the last couple of minutes. You don't know. Let's have a look. So long ball again, and it's just cleared. It's very easy for Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace have definitely looked the more dangerous for me. Surprisingly, I didn't think I would say this, but if you take Darwin Núñez out of the Liverpool team, who we'll touch on in a little bit, they don't really have the how can I describe it? The cutting edge. The striker's instinct up front. Mo Salah definitely does not have that instinct. He's very much for me a winger. He's not clinical. He doesn't make the runs that strikers do, that your number nines do, and it shows when he is the only one playing. And Jordan Henderson, as hard as he tries, and he does give a lot of effort in every single game, he's just not. He's not a player that can drag them through the games, because he's not a player that has the ability to change the game. And that is just so bad that he's still being relied on. Matip played it back there. He's having Van Dijk, sorry. But Biacic has lost it. Palace on the attack. It's a poor mistake from the youngster. It's a chance here. Is that a poor... Oh. Liverpool have got away with that one there, but it's with Eze on the edge of the box. Mitchell puts it in, and it's cleared by Joel Matip. But it's only as far as the number 16 for Palace. I'm not entirely sure who that is, but it's cleared by Fabinho. And Biacic clears it again, but only as far as Edouard. This is so much pressure for Liverpool. There's no way of seeing how they clear it. It's embarrassing to watch this Liverpool team at times. And the thing is, when they go up 2-0 against Real Madrid, you think, could this be the turning point? Could this be where Liverpool finally start showing that they are a world-class team still? And what happens is they end up losing 5-2, and they lose 5-2 through three of those goals were completely avoidable. They were, mistakes that last year Liverpool weren't making, or the year before, and it's sad to see, but at the same time, Arsenal fans will be loving it because it's allowed them to enter the title race. Long ball looking for Salah, but again, it's cleared because Salah has never won a header in his life. I don't think Salah ever won a header in junior football, never mind, professional Premier League football. Fabinho is taken out by Eze late there, and they get a free kick. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot we'll be unpacking, but we are just 3 minutes of added time, so we'll see this out, and then we'll get on to the main subject about what's happening with Liverpool here. So goals in the 90 minutes, Sky Sports are just popping that up, and guess what? Liverpool are not even in the top 7 or whatever they showed, but Palace are for goals in the 90th minute after 90 minutes. So if anybody's going to win this, it's going to be Palace, but it is a deep free kick. James Milner, the ever young, the ever youthful. I mean, if he is not evidence of a fountain of youth, I don't know what is. Biacic wins the header, but it's won back by Palace, and they've got a chance to counter attack now. I thought that was Edouard was number 9 for Palace. I didn't realize it was Ayew, which is interesting. They're just it's striking me as a bit of a. It's not even, I would say, this isn't a transition for Liverpool, and that is the problem. It's not a transition; it is a disaster because it's going back to the Gerard Houllier days of you can't see where their next trophy is coming from. And that, I'm sure people will say that, will say that's hyperbole and whatever, but it's a genuine opinion that I don't see Liverpool winning the league again anytime soon. I don't see them winning the Champions League. I don't even see them winning the FA Cup or Carabao Cup simply because they don't have the squad depth to do it. And this season has shown that. Their squad depth consists of 18, 19-year-olds. Well, unless those 18, 19s are really special. Ayew's brought down there. Oh, dear. Andy Robertson. We are in the last 45 seconds, and Palace have a free kick. It's a dangerous position. And I think Andy Robertson has got a yellow card. I mean, it's soft. Ayew, and it's not, he's been booked for dissent more than the tackle. That much is obvious, but it's not a yellow card for me. But we shall, we'll see. Right. So we are in. This will be it. Whatever happens now. See what happens. In, and it's. Oh, he goes all the way across. Firmino missed his header. Palace still on the attack. Oh, and it's a corner. We're still playing. We're still playing. We're still playing here. This is very, very interesting, I must admit. And that is it. It's all over at Selhurst Park. So Patrick Vieira gets a point against Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool, and Palace are wanting more time added on. And there's been a yellow card after the whistle for Anderson of Crystal Palace. They're not happy about the added on time. He's had a real pop at the referee there. I don't quite know what his issue is. I think it's because he went out for another corner and they wanted another corner. But anyway, let's get that game off. And how are you all? So if you're a Liverpool fan, what are your thoughts? What is going on at Anfield? What can you see the club being able to change to stop this rot? What can you see what do you need? Who do you need to improve your team? Because honestly, you need something. And you need it bloody quick. So let's have a look. So what I want to talk about is Darwin Núñez. Now, Núñez is for me, he looks a good striker, but he's an expensive player. Let me go why. Let me get this graphic for you. I'm gonna remember where I put the bloody thing. There we are. So, let me get that full screen. Otherwise, you're gonna have the nasty crap around it. Now, Darwin Núñez. Okay. What was going on there? There we go. Darwin Núñez, 17 appearances, 6 goals, 3 assists. Didn't play tonight. He's got a long-standing shoulder issue, which ruled him out of tonight's game. He has cost more than Haaland. He will cost, obviously wages. We're not looking at that. What we're looking at is the fee that the club paid. He's cost more than Haaland. For a player to cost what he cost, you have got to be able to walk into that team and score 20 goals a season, 20 league goals minimum. If you can't deliver 20 league goals a season, then you are not a 60, 70 million pound player. Not only that, he's hot-headed. He plays with emotions, which I think is a really good thing, but it does mean he can be wound up. He also, for me, I think everybody thought he was going to be like Haaland, and he hasn't. There have been times when he's been used as more of a winger, and I think that the problem you have there is that he's not a winger. He is very much a striker, but Jurgen Klopp seems to want to play him on the left. Especially, he wants to have him and Salah rotating, and then you've got Jota and Diaz, and you've got all these other players that want to get involved. And frankly, they are not of the same caliber. So what happens is these players end up struggling. Now, what you can't have is somebody, if you're going to sign somebody like Núñez, he's got to be who you're building your team around. He's got to be the player that you say, do you know what? 100%, we're going to go and we're going to build our team around Darwin Núñez. Instead, I think what he's done, he's still trying to build his team around Salah. He's still trying to build his team around Van Dijk. He's trying to build his defense around Van Dijk, which rightly I agree with. And he's trying to build his midfield around Henderson. So for me, straight away, if you're building your midfield around Henderson, you've got a problem, because Jordan Henderson is a player for me that Liverpool fans overrate. He's not a good midfielder. He is a player who will only pass the ball sideways. He'll only play the safe passes. Occasionally he'll hit an amazing pass, but you know what? Even a broken clock's right twice a day, and occasionally it'll come off. So the question you really have to ask is, why haven't you signed a midfielder for 4.5 years? Why is James Milner at 37, I think 37, 38, still a mainstay of your midfield? Why, and your defense, because he plays right back, left back? And why are you still playing Naby Keita? Because Naby Keita is possibly, I say possibly because I'm sure if I look statistically, I'd be proven wrong. He is one of, if not the worst signings that hasn't been sold within 2 years in Premier League history. Now, that is a massive shout. I agree. But he's just dreadful. He offers nothing on the ball. He loses the ball more often than not. He's always injured, and he drags the whole team down. I mean, I watched it tonight and he got hooked at half-time for Harvey Elliott. Harvey Elliott is much better in that midfield. He plays quicker, he's direct, he will run with the ball, and he looks like he wants to get forward, whereas Naby Keita gets the ball and he looks like he's forgotten what to do. He's a footballer and he doesn't know how to play football. And the problem is you pair a midfielder like that with Jordan Henderson, and it's like pairing a mini Metro with a Vauxhall Corsa. It's crap. What you want to be doing, what Liverpool need to do this summer is go out and get those midfielders, which will allow you to pair, which will then say, we're pairing these with, you're pairing a BMW with an Audi. you'll upgrade them, and you've got to do that. BMW and Audis aren't everybody's taste, but that is the analogy I'm going to go with here. Liverpool fans, I want you to get involved. The link is in chat. Let me drop it in again for you, because I want to know what you think. Let me just pop this in here. I want to know what you think. I want you to come on. I want you to tell me what you think is going wrong with Liverpool. I want any other fans of any other club to come on and speak to us as well. Excuse me. It doesn't have to be Premier League. Like you can see, I'm a Wrexham fan. We have made a massiff jump today. Notts County lost, which is fantastic. So excuse the hoodie, the beanie, because I've still got hat hair from the game. But back to going back to Liverpool. I genuinely think selling Sadio Mane was a mistake. I think giving Mohamed Salah £400,000 a week is criminal. And I'll tell you why. Because you wouldn't give it to Mane. And if anything this season has shown me is that for years Liverpool have said, or fans of other clubs have always said Liverpool are a one-man team. It's, you are a... if Salah gets injured, what are you going to do? That is what has been thrown at Liverpool for a number of years now. And I disagree. I've disagreed for a while. But now you're a one-man team. 100%. Now if Salah doesn't score, Salah doesn't turn up, you don't do anything. At least there you had Mane. What the owners should have been doing in this situation is going, we need to pay them both. We have to. There's no way around this. We have to pay both of these players what they want. City are doing it. United are doing it. Arsenal have just given Saka 200 grand a week. That's a big pay rise for him. Spurs, maybe with bonuses. Do you know what? I reckon if Harry Kane and Son went to them and both asked for 300 grand a week, they'd probably get paid it. And you're telling me that Liverpool can't pay that? 3 Champions League finals, a Premier League title, FA Cup win, and he's not worth 400,000 a week. Well, I'll tell you what, he's worth 400,000 a week to you now. Definitely, 100% he is worth £400,000 to you a week. He's probably worth £500,000 to you a week now, because you haven't got somebody else if Salah doesn't turn up. Gapco, for me, was only signed, and I said this on our podcast this week, only signed because United went after him, and I think it was very much an emergency. I think it was very much an emergency signing. And then you've got, Diaz is injured, Jota's been injured, and Nunes, who doesn't perform. So we've got here talking transfers. It was well reported Keita wanted to leave in the summer, but his relationship with Klopp is fractious. His performances do reflect that. The fact he still plays is weird. I think he plays because they haven't got anybody else. I think, when you have somebody who, when you have a club who haven't signed a midfielder for 4.5 years outside of Thiago, and Thiago has been okay, he's done all right when he's played, I think you have to play him, because who else have you got? You got Henderson, Thiago, Fabinho, Elliott, Curtis Jones, Oxlade-Chamberlain. And I go through this list, and when I go through the list, I look, Oxlade-Chamberlain, always injured. Thiago, always injured. Harvey Elliott had a broken leg, but since he's come back, he's been very, very good. Milner's 38. He's going to be getting his bus pass before he retires at this rate. Then you've got Curtis Jones, very rarely turns up. The list of the midfielders that they have is long, but unimpressive. So it's almost like Klopp is wanting Keita to suddenly go, I can be a Liverpool player, I can play football, and I don't think he can. If we look at the defence of Liverpool, though, that is where the problems are this year, because that's where they are, as well as Mane leaving, obviously. But when we look at the defence is the same as it was last year. You've still got Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back. You've still got Van Dijk in the centre. You've got Robertson at left back. You've got Alisson in goal. And then you've got Matip, Canate and Gomez. Now, Canate hasn't played much due to injuries. But this year, Van Dijk hasn't been as good. There is so many issues with this Liverpool team, and it's so weird. It's not something you expect to see out of them. What we got here. So this isn't me sending myself messages. I'm guessing this is Jono. I think Chelsea Liverpool won't get Europe this season. Champions League spots will not change. Brighton will get Europa League. It's a big shout. I mean, Brighton getting Europa League. They've got money to invest if they do, and I wouldn't be surprised. Their recruitment is right now, pound for pound, better than anybody else's in the Premier League. Their recruitment is Leicester levels when they got Mahrez and Kante. That is how good their recruitment is right now. If they keep McAllister, which they will if they get European football, that's a big, big statement. And fair play to them. They play very attractive football. It's definitely got better since Potter left, and Chelsea have definitely got worse since Potter went there. I mean, on Potter, while move on to Chelsea a little bit. I don't see if Potter doesn't win 2 of the next 3 games, and one of those 3 do include Dortmund. They include, I think it's Leeds. If he doesn't get 2 out of 3 big results in there, he's sacked for me. I said on the podcast that American owners don't tend to sack managers. Mid-season, American sports tend to get rid of the coaches at the end of it. But if he doesn't win, or 2 out of 3, he's gone. You don't get £700 million to spend and fail. And if he doesn't win 2 out of 3 of the next 3, obviously, then he's failed, because I think that will be the season over. Brentford and Brighton are the best run clubs in the league. We know Chris thinks he should already be sacked. I think I'm going to go left field here just for Chris, that we should get Ali McCoist in to manage Chelsea. I think that would be epic. Brentford and Brighton are the best. Brentford are amazing. Their owners are fantastic, and so are Brighton's. They're a model. I mean, you could argue that until this season, people would have said Liverpool were one of the best run clubs. And I think this season has shown that actually they're not. So there could be things behind the scenes with Brighton and Liverpool that we don't know, but who knows? You like Luis Enrique, though, because you were talking about him going to Atletico Madrid as well on our podcast this week. So, that is, you do like Luis. He could be a shout for Chelsea. He plays attacking football. He plays attractive football. So he does fit their model. Simeone to Chelsea could be a shout, just because he will bring winning football. It's where the bowl. I said this week, though, you can't sign 10 attacking players and then bring in a defensive coach. If you do that, it's like putting diesel in a petrol car. It's not going to work. It's going to break down. So Enrique's probably the better shout. What about go left field with it, though? Because you never know. I mean, Bielsa's still out there. Bielsa's still got very high stock. Can you imagine him going to Chelsea? I think there'd be a revolt. There's that many revolts at Chelsea. It'd be very, very interesting. Who else? So let's have a look at the Premier League results in today, because I obviously have been out, so I haven't seen many of them. Let's have a look just before we do that, because that is really bright. And that is because of the BBC. Why can't you get BBC in dark mode? Every other web page gives me dark mode, and I go on BBC and suddenly I'm getting hit with the rays of the sun. I don't think Liverpool have ever been run well by FSG. It's all on Klopp what they've done. FSG are really dodgy. So FSG, to defend them slightly, they invest heavily in their baseball team because baseball teams don't have transfers. With Liverpool, what they've said is you can only spend what we make. So all the transfers are funded by sales. They've never really invested anything too big. If you look at the Van Dijk was sold because Coutinho left. They've never really gone big on any one player, apart from Gapco. and Gapco and Nunes this season, but they failed. So even if they wanted to, you could argue their hands have been burnt. I think they try to run Liverpool as a income and outgoing business, and football doesn't work like that. So Spurs next, Spurs, Leeds, Dortmund, Leicester and Everton and Chelsea's next 5. So if he doesn't get 2 out of 3 results from Spurs, Leeds and Dortmund, he doesn't make it to Leicester. Leicester and Everton are the really winnable games out of those 5 as well. Really, if you need a win, you go to Everton. So let's have a look at the results from today. Everton lost at Villa 2-0. I think Danny Ings scored there, didn't he? And Ollie Watkins. Oh, no, he didn't, because Danny Ings doesn't play there anymore, does he? I'm having a day. So Watkins and Buendia. I know Danny Ings scored for West Ham, though. Leeds beat Southampton. Arsenal beat Leicester City. West Ham finally getting that win, Ings with 2 goals. I mean, they all came after 70 minutes. So it kind of looks like Nottingham Forest just collapsed. Statistically wise, West Ham were the better team. Man City absolutely demolished Bournemouth. Absolutely crushed them 4-1. And I, without even looking at this, I'm guessing Haaland, because I didn't watch this. I was watching the Notts County game. Haaland, Foden, Mepham on goal, and Alvarez and a late consolation for Bournemouth. I mean, Bournemouth are an average team. They'd be propping the league up if it wasn't if Southampton could actually play football. Controversial penalty for Aston Villa. I mean, I'll be watching Match of the Day later for sure. What time is that? 25 to 11, I think, Match of the Day. What else we got in the Championship? We got Coventry beat Sunderland. That's a good result for Coventry. Burnley, what a team. What a team Burnley are. They won 4-0 today. Barnes, Roberts, Brownhill, and Obafemi. They sit top of the league, 76 points, 34 games played, 40 goal difference. They are 12 clear of Sheffield United in second. They've only lost 2 games all season. They've only conceded 28 goals. Burnley, Company is doing wonders. He's an absolute legend. What else happened in the Championship? Let's have a look. Norwich beat Cardiff. That's always good news. Swansea didn't play. They must be playing tomorrow. West Brom beating Middlesbrough. That's a shock. Ooh, that is a shock. That's a big one. That is big. And then we go down to we're going to go down National League just because that's what I want to talk about a little bit. Wrexham won today. Big win over Dorking Wanderers. And Dorking struggle. They haven't scored away from home since December. But the biggest news is that Dagenham and Redbridge, who sacked their manager last night, won 2-1 at Notts County. A very late goal on the counter-attack. It was a brilliant counter-attack as well. And that puts us 2 points behind. And with 2 games in hand, the title is very much in our hands now. We've just got to go on and win it. Let's have a look from around the divisions in Europe. Real Madrid drew with Atletico Madrid 1-1. Correa was sent off for Atletico after the 64th minute, and they took the lead. Rodriguez rescued a point for Madrid. It's currently 0-0 between Valencia and Sociedad. Leipzig beat Frankfurt. Dortmund beat Hoffenheim, which is a big result because that puts Dortmund top of the league. Bayern Munich 3 points behind. Obviously, they've got a game in hand. That could be interesting. We spoke about this last. We spoke about this on the podcast this week. Bayern Munich are struggling, and they don't have that talisman that they've had for years, like Lewandowski. So they could realistically start to slip away. No Neuer in goal for them. It's going to be a very interesting end to the Bundesliga. In Italy, Napoli just continue to win. They beat Empoli 2-0, and Lyon beat Angers. I think I pronounced that right. Angers in France. So results from around Europe are pretty interesting. I mean, certainly some Benfica are currently winning in Portugal as well. And if we look at Turkey, Fenerbahce beat Konyaspor 4-0. And in the United States, MLS, it's currently 0-0 between New York City and Nashville, but it has only just kicked off. So probably not one to keep an eye on if you don't like American sports. The 2 other competitors play each other tomorrow. Is Bayern Union? It is indeed. So that is going to be massive. Union Berlin can get a win there. That would put, I mean, a draw is the best result for Dortmund. Interestingly, when we spoke about this on the pod, we were saying that Union Berlin, it would be amazing for them to win. But realistically, Dortmund are the more likely one. But Union Berlin have got Europe as well. So it's how long they can keep fighting on multiple fronts. But it's certainly going to be, it's going to open, I think, a few doors for them. And what a turnaround! I mean, they're not a team you kind of expect to be doing well in Germany. They're not a big name team known around Europe, are they? And anybody who can better Bayern Munich for me is amazing. But the problem you have, Bayern Munich will get pissed off, and Bayern Munich will go out and they will sign their best players in the summer and then dominate the league next year. We got here 9 wins in a row, first time in history of Borussia Dortmund, the highest win percentage since 2000 for a Dortmund manager, higher than Klopp, Tuchel, Marco Rose, Edin Terzic on fire. The team he has as well it's not a great, it's not a great team when you look at the Dortmund team. Royce, obviously still there, he's getting older. Hummels, he's getting on. Emre Can, I think, is there, and he's getting on as well. So I do wonder what would happen if Ademi left or got injured. I think we'll find that out in the summer. But hey, these are the joys that we play with when we play. When you are a top team, I suppose. Right. Okay. So let's have a quick look on here, and that is. Let's have a look. I mean, the problem Bayern for me, I said it before, and you touched on it here, Boom. Bayern are 100% buying a top striker in the summer, in my opinion, knowing Bayern maybe one from the rivals. I wonder if they'll go for Ademi. I wonder if they'll go for him. Quick, young, he's 18 years old, 19 years old. You've got a player there who could be your striker for 15 years. And he'd probably cost 50 million. That's a drop in the ocean for Bayern Munich, a club of their size. It makes sense to go and do it. And then it's where the Dortmund can replace him. I mean, maybe they'll come in and sign Nunes from Liverpool because he might not be there next year. But you don't know, do you? It's certainly going to be interesting. Right then, so let's have a quick look at some of the headlines as always. Let's see what we do. No, I've gone on to all the headlines. Let's have a look at that. Actually, let's bring this up. So let's just go back to the Premier League for a split second. And let's have a look at the league. So you've got Arsenal sitting top 57 points. City right on their tail with 55. Those two teams. It's not Liverpool City levels, but it's still damn impressive. I think Liverpool City levels probably spoiled us a little bit. United on 49 points. Boom, you're a United fan. Are you in the title race? What do you think? It's are you realistically going to be able to overhaul Arsenal? Because Arsenal are on the same games as you and 8 points clear. Spurs sitting 4th on 42, Newcastle 41. Obviously, they play United tomorrow at Wembley. Fulham on 39. Fulham. Did anybody at the start of the season, did anybody back Fulham not to get relegated? I reckon you could have got good odds on that. Liverpool are now 7th. 36 points. They are 8 points behind Spurs, but they've got a game in hand, so that could be reduced to 5. Which, that would be interesting. I'm not sure who their game is in hand, but the way Liverpool, you wouldn't back them to win it anyway. Brighton sit 8th, Brentford 9th. Interesting, going back to what I said before about Brighton getting Europe. So Brighton being back to get Europe over Liverpool, but they sit below them but they've got a game in hand. My apologies. And then Chelsea sitting 10th, Villa 11th. And then if we look down at the bottom of the league, the bottom of the league is, excuse me, very, very sad reading if you're an Everton fan or a Southampton fan. Bournemouth, I think you probably expected it. But Southampton, 18 points, only 5 wins. They've conceded 41 goals. There is only 3 teams with the worst defensive record, and one of them is Bournemouth. I predict... No. I predicted they would just survive or just go down. Yeah, I don't think anybody had Fulham doing as well as they're doing. And the thing is, everybody kind of focused on Mitrovic at the start of the season. Their recent results have been very, very good. Go back for me. Go back. So that's not helpful. I wanted to get their most recent results. Let's get it here. And the results haven't been bad, Drew at Chelsea, they beat Nottingham Forest, they beat Brighton. They beat Brighton. I mean, that is a very, very good result for them. And God, something's really tickled my throat. And I think that is really the beating the teams around you is impressive, but the teams that should be around them, you think, are Southampton, Bournemouth, Everton in this situation, not Brighton. So fair bloody play. Well, that's it. They were a yo-yo club, like you say, because they came up, they spent big, and the problem is they spent big and it didn't work, and then they were stuck with players like Michael Seri when he came in, and it just didn't work. And the problem is then when you do that, you are stuck with big contracts. And I think this year, this time, they've learned Marco Silva is a very good manager who deserves probably a little bit more credit, I think, for the work he does. But I don't think he'll get it. Let's have a look at some of the other tables then. So, have a quick look at the Championship, and then we'll probably call it a night for the first one of these. So we've got Burnley sit top, 8 points clear, then 12 points clear. Sheffield United, 64 points. Borough on 57. Blackburn, 55. I would love to see Blackburn back in the Premier League. Not going to lie. I'd like to see Blackburn over Middlesbrough back in the Premier League. Millwall and Luton making up the remainder of the playoff spots. And down in the relegation zone, we don't want to advertise BBC Sounds. Huddersfield, Blackpool, and Wigan. Kind of feel for Wigan a little bit. Just got promoted. In League One, I can't spell. Let's have a look. Sheffield Wednesdays sitting top on 71 points. What a season they're having. And Plymouth on second. Ipswich, Bolton, Barnsley, and Derby making up the playoffs and in the relegation zones. Accrington, Stanley, Milton Keynes, Dons, Cambridge, Forest Green. So Forest Green deserve to get relegated because they hired Big Dunk. They deserve that. I just don't like Big Dunk. League Two, Leyton Orient are they're not going to be caught, and then it's between Carlisle, Stevenage, and Northampton for me, who go up automatically. But that run of form Stockport were on until today's defeat was brilliant. I mean, they could still push for automatic promotion, as much as it pains me to say, because they are rivals to my team, Crawley and Rochdale. It's really sad to see Rochdale might go out of the Football League. It's really, really sad. Only 5 wins all season. And talking to Rochdale fans, they've just not been playing good football at all. If we then go down to the National League, Notts County sitting top, 35 played, 83 games. But they lost tonight, as I said earlier, for the second time this season to Dagenham and Redbridge. We sit second, Wrexham second, 33 games, 81 points. Now, we play Chesterfield on Tuesday. That's one of our games in hand. That could see us take top spot back. Woking, 62 points in third. And then Barnet, Chesterfield, who are on a dreadful run of form coming into this game Tuesday night. Southend and Eastleigh. I'm in the relegation spots. It's Yeovil, Torquay, Scunthorpe, and Maidstone. Now, what I want to touch on here just quickly. There are 4 teams relegated from this league and only 2 promoted because League 2 only has 2 relegated. It's a disgrace. An absolute disgrace that there are not more the teams promoted from this league. It should be top 2 and playoffs for me, but the Football League need to get that into place. Should bring this up on the screen here. For me, 17, 18 spot was between Fulham and Leeds, but at that point, it's only Leeds because I was a guest on the UBS podcast talking to March. I mean, Leeds are. If Leeds survive this year, they get relegated next year for me. I'll quite happily go on record as saying it now. Napoli still top in Italy. Inter Milan, Roma, and AC Milan make up the rest of the top 4. Juventus have moved into 7th.
They are 12 points behind AC Milan, but they they are only 9 points behind Atalanta in 6th. There's still a chance Juventus could get European football next year. It is bizarre. And do you know what else? I meant to touch on this. I want to go back to it. If I bring up this table again, sorry. Last night, I had the absolute privilege to interview some Southend fans. So we'll probably finish on this here. Now, these guys were absolute gentlemen. They gave up their Friday night to talk to me for the podcast. And we were talking about how Southend are quite literally on the verge of defeats. Their players haven't been paid in weeks. I think it's January the last time they were paid. Before Christmas, fans of other clubs donated money to a GoFundMe that was set up by Scunthorpe United fans. I know Wrexham fans that donated to it, and it was given straight to the club. And while they believe that it did go to did go towards paying wages, there is no guarantee that's what happened, but they do believe that. That club has had 25 years of mismanagement. The last 10 years, the last 8 years, they've had 10 winding up orders. The owner is now rejecting bids to sell the club. And today, of all days, they won and they beat Torquay. They, despite everything, despite not being paid, despite being on the verge of not having, they could wake up Thursday morning unemployed because on Wednesday they're in court. They could get wound up. They're still 6th. They've still won 15 games. They still turn up every week and put a shift in for the fans. And you know what? That is absolutely amazing because I know players who down tools over less than that. Chelsea players have down tools over less than that. And these guys are still turning up week in, week out, putting in a shift for the fans. And I think that's brilliant. And you know what? On that note, on a happy note, the Southend fucking won. Absolutely amazing. Go and listen to the podcast. We will try and do this every Saturday. We're going to try and do it after the Champions League games as well. So feel free. If you ever want to come on, you're always more than welcome. And I have thoroughly enjoyed just chatting about football for 45 minutes with you tonight. It's been a joy just to round up the day's action. And I will see you all very, very soon. We'll be doing the podcast again Thursday night. And make sure you keep an eye out for a podcast about Valencia, which I believe Boompool's doing. And I will have a non-league show dropping for you at some point next week as well. All the best, guys. I'll see you all soon.